Good evening. In Kenya, it's good evening because it's almost 5:44. Not 5 actually. Is it? Yeah, it's almost that time, 5:44. We're approaching 6, so it's evening. Yeah, so good evening, but as from other places, maybe it may be good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Yeah, so members come on board. Let's have this live again. I've rejuvenated my energy after doing another live on a different channel that is edutainment for us. You can get there and watch what I did. Now currently understand my topic here, looting, shooting and killing. So we can call about hooting, shooting, looting and killing. That's what we have just observed in Kenya in the past 2 days. So guys, one thing that surprises me as I come to talk about this topic is when demonstrations come about, of course they send a lot of cold shivers in most of us, right? As far as we would want justice, as far as we would want, you know, the right leaders, as far as we would want change, what happened in Kenya was quite saddening, yeah? On that day, you wouldn't go in any town free. You wouldn't be having that freedom of movement, to any town nearby your place. And I think sometimes things like sickness don't choose which day they can come. Yeah? So let's gather here and talk about looting, shooting, hooting, and killing in Kenya. If you've read a book known as Parliament of Oz, you may understand why I've chosen such titles. And apart from that, of course, we can see a lot of media houses are filled with such titles. No wonder I came about to give such a topic. Now, protests have very bad memories with most of families. And it's not only last year. Many people are referring to 2024, forgetting that we had 202, we had 207, and we had before the recent one. Which one else? Yeah, so every time we've had elections, we've been having a series of demonstrations. And let Millie or Jambo not cheat us that during the time ODM, NASA, and all those groups were demonstrating, it was peaceful. We have never had peaceful demonstrations in Kenya. We've never had them, actually. Every time these demonstrations are set, we have political interference. We have people who are interested, people with interests. We have individuals who are desperate and they just want to loot. And so that is why most of demonstrations in Kenya are never peaceful. So I am even thinking, why can't we come up with any other way of expressing our thoughts instead of going to the streets? Because I don't think we will have any peaceful demonstration in Kenya anyway, regardless of how we want to express our emotions and our thoughts and our ideas. They all end up in chaos, guys. So here I am, Prissy, for you from Kenya, and I'm talking from partly experience because I have my people who have died during such demonstrations. In 2007, I lost an uncle in Eldoret through such a process, And I've also experienced whereby one of my in-laws was traveling to Nairobi and she was just pulled out of a vehicle, told you are light-skinned, so you belong to this group, and they were almost shooting her. I remember also the time I was going to university, we were so scared going back to college because demonstration had just been so much during elections and we were going back to the campus. Now, I currently have people out there in Nairobi, Mombasa, and all over the places, Muranga and what have you. And when these demonstrations are happening, I saw another man sitting in a bush calling and trying to call the son that is in Nairobi, and he could not find the son. He was so frustrated. I believe what came to his mind is that with demonstration, the son might be normal. That is what I just think. And of course, he was struggling with frustrations, calling the mother and asking, have you called this? Have you found out? I'm calling him, the phone is off. Those are the kind of frustrations that come. Now, for business people, the fear that comes is looting. Yeah? The fear is looting. While for the mwananchi, it is shooting. For the business people, it's looting. A number of times, anytime we have a demonstration in the country, looting goes on. Tabibo Kenny. Hey, Tabibo Kenny is like, Ruto must go. Lazy Veta Shuake is like, I don't know. Okay, I remember you. How are you? You can give me a like. Once you come to the platform, kindly give me a like as we go on with the discussion here. Because I'm not here to defend anybody, but I'm here to express thoughts and show reactions and, bring on your ideas, bring on your comments. What do you think? When do we stop this looting, shooting, and killing and hooting in the country? If you read A Parliament of Alls, you understand what is there. When people hoot and loot, it starts from the top. The leaders are hooting by going to parliament. They make a lot of noise. And once they make a lot of noise, like we saw yesterday, then they go on to loot. Sometimes they loot publicly by introducing better salaries for themselves, allowances for themselves. That's what they do. And when they hoot by making noise in parliament, proving that they are really working hard. They hoot also by saying that so and so must go, like the case of Gachagua must go. And they really vote against such a person and he goes, of course. Whether he was guilty or not, that's not my business here. And then they go now about sit and decide we have to add ourselves salary. So which allowance do we introduce? Standing allowance. Which maybe tax do we introduce to citizens to gather more money? Let's introduce sanitary tax. Or let's introduce tax on bundles. But we still keep buying those bundles and using them because why not? We are used to it. We YouTubers, content creators will not stop buying those bundles, however much they are taxing. And they should stop because the moment it will become too expensive, I don't know, people will be exploding. Yeah, so they hoot, as I've told you, they loot and they shoot. Now, how do they come to shoot? When you complain about those taxes, when you complain about the hooting that they already did in government, we call them a coup. They hold coups, by the way. As far as they are fearing the coups from outside, today we heard CS Murkomen talking about unfolding coup that was the police did very well to stop. But they hold coups by ensuring that they defend budgets that are not suitable. They hold coups by ensuring that they are stopping money that should go to health, stopping money that should go to universities for free education, stopping maybe some, one thing or there. That is how they shoot. Yeah? So I've talked about hooting, looting, and shooting. And sometimes they shoot through abductions. They shoot through what we saw happening to Ojuang and so many other ways, guys. So save my time and let me go through just a series of videos, and I'll be talking about them because, of course, observing the YouTube recommendation. And gather here, guys, because this is a hot topic that cannot be discussed by one lady in the house. It needs a lot of you to give your views. Like, what about this shooting? What about this looting? What about this hooting? Now, let's go to the street and show about the looting that we saw after demonstrations. But also more looting than that. There is more shooting than that. And there is more shooting than what you saw there. So, of course, we begin in tears as families cry here. Let's start with this. Excuse me.
Mama wengine marafiki zangu tukaenda na wao kwenda na wao kufika police station ya wao kukubali tuingie wakanirudisha nyuma.
So that is a mother to Rachel Mwangi.
Tukaenda paka Ozi kwenda Ozi hatukupata mtoto.
See that?
The family claims police officers gave conflicting statements surrounding Mwangi's death. Statement yenye waliandika
ni ya kusema kijana alipigiwa risasi mali huko police station juu walikuwa wanachoma gari, of which hiyo ilikuwa uongo. Juu hiyo ilikuwa baadaye after raia kuona kijana ameuliwa, ndio walikuwa napita wakaingia police station wakachoma.
Sorrow and grief characterized scenes at Nairobi City Mortuary as families thronged the facility to search for their kin. Fatima Openga was overcome by grief upon viewing the body of her 17-year-old son. The mother says Ian Openga found himself caught in the crossfire during the protest in Ongata Rongai.
Nikapata mtoto alipigwa risasi, iliingilia hapa na ikatokea na nyuma. Sasa kama wanaua watoto wadogo na sisi wenyewe tumezeeka, nani atatugaramia sisi? Waache kutuumiza. Wale watoto wetu, waache watoto wetu wakae na freedom yao.
As Fatima grieves, another family is still in shock after their loved one was killed during the protest. Winfred Mwangi says her husband Kevin Jao was reportedly shot dead at Kikuyu stage while boarding a matatu.
Anafanyanga kazi na contractors za barabara. Sasa nikapigiwa simu usiku wakati alipokuwa anatokea kwa kazi.
Stop that.
Ndio alipigwa risasi akiwa kwa stage.
It was my everything, like I don't know what to say. Kameniacha na mtu yako na 2 months na huyo mwingine yako 2 years ako na cerebral palsy. Like I don't know even what I just want justice.
In Nyeri County, 27-year-old Joseph Dongo from Karima village in Udhaya was shot dead during the Gen Z protest that rocked Udhaya town. Dongo was returning home from work at a local construction site when he was caught in the chaos. He was allegedly shot by police officers with a bullet striking his right hand and exiting through his chest. He died on the spot.
Once, nusu saa tukisikia amekufa.
3 other individuals were shot during the protest, bringing the total number of fatalities in Wednesday's demonstrations to 4. 1 person was killed in Nyeri town amid looting at Naivas supermarket, while 2 others were shot in Karatina town. 2 people succumbed to gunshot wounds after police opened fire on protesters at Imali Township in Makueni County. Garrison Mutisa, aged 33, and Peter Macau, aged 23, were shot dead in the center of Imali town at around 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday. The bullet that killed Garrison entered the left side of the chest. And
so you can see a lot of the people who were shot in the demonstrations. Either the bullets, hit their heads, or they were hit in the stomachs, right? So we have about 16 people killed, 400 injured. And I'm going to the research that I just conducted before I can show more here. But you can actually see it's a grievous moment for families. A very worrying moment. And not all of them were looting. Not all of them were involved in demonstrations. Some were going about their business. In fact, for the case of that was in the gym in Kitengela. For the case of, you've also had the case of one who was boarding a matatu. You've also heard of the case of one who was coming back from school. So we cannot generalize that everybody who was shot here was a criminal. Of course, we saw comment today saying that those who came to the streets to loot were not demonstrators, but goons. Something that had been said earlier, even before demonstrations, indicated that we had leaders who had planned to send goons to the city to disrupt the protests. I wonder whether when leaders plan for this, are they sure about the results, and do they even care? What kind of hearts do they have anyway? That's just a question, a rhetorical for that sake. So let's get to see from the research I conducted, what do we get here before we can proceed. Now, from the research I conducted, fatal shootings and victims, 8 civilians were shot dead, all from gunshots. During demonstrations of the June 25th, and at least that was 6 counties. Machakos, 2 were killed, Makueni, 2 were killed, Nakuru 1, Kiambu 1, Uasin Gishu 1, Nyandarua 1. And of course there is the Nairobi case. Now we have this other group of bodies. Some are saying 20, some 30, some 50. We are not even sure of the numbers from OTC. We are not sure about what happened there. I'm yet to understand. Now, in Nyandarua, Olkalau, a man in his early 20s was shot in the chest by the police and was pronounced dead on arrival in JM Kariuki Hospital, right? That is from Standard Media. If you check, you'll find the details. Molo, there was a teenager killed by police gunfire. And in Matu, we had 2 protesters who were shot dead. And 10 more people were wounded as they were trying to storm the police station. Of course, that is Kenya Moja. They'll give you those news. Go about and check on the death of that occurred in the initial peaceful protests. You will find details on the same. Now, notably, the entire demonstrations came as a result of the last year's demonstration where so many young people died and people felt like nothing was done, like there was no compensation. Some of them, their families are not even aware where they are. It also followed the death of Albert Ojwang, the 35-year-old teacher and blogger that died on June 8th while in police custody following the alleged defamation. The autopsy also confirmed that he had been hit, physically assaulted, and that fueled a lot of massive protests. So let's go deeper into the shootings before we come to the looting and any other thing. Now, from AI, Al Jazeera English, this is what can be shown. You people stop laughing around. Let's see from Al Jazeera. From Al Jazeera, it's shown that there are 60. I don't know.
More than 60 people last year were killed.
Last year.
And even after those protests died down, we have seen a series of abductions allegedly carried out by the police. Now, people here are saying they are even triggered even more by a killing recently of a young man, a blogger, a teacher called Albert Ojwang. He was killed in a police cell right here in the city center. The reason why he was arrested is because he posted something, those protests last year, and we are being told
points towards tired of sugary sodas that leave you feeling sluggish. What if I told you?
this bubbly drink is actually good for your gut. Say hello.
Some cases of police officers who have been investigated or suspended from duty. But another topic that's angering the rights groups here today is the fact that just a couple of hours ago, but in very small numbers, as you mentioned, this time around triggered by recent cases of police violence, not by the budget. Now, the budget that was just passed in recent days by Parliament does include some tax increases, some minor changes to tax arrangements, but nothing.
Yeah, so let's spare that and get to more examples. Yeah, there's something I just wanted to... There's something I wanted to show. Yeah, so of course when we checked Thika Road, there was some situation here that I saw the shooting, because I'm focusing on shooting.
Are still Ruto must go. We are going to be coming to you, sample that thought. Raymond, I trust that you can hear me.
But the protesters are in large numbers spread throughout all.
There was some funny video showing how the shooting was done and many youth were lying on the floor. I may not get it now. I may not. Let's proceed. There's a lot of noise from outside, you know. Yeah, so let's look at this one. Look at this.
Aidha, simanzi ndilo linaendelea kutawala kwenye boma la kina Dennis Njuguna, mwanafunzi wa kidato cha 4 aliyepigwa risasi na maafisa wa polisi kwenye maandamano ya hapo jana. Nikapigiwa simu na kijana mwingine akaniambia, mama Ambui, kuja haraka sana hospitali, kuna kijana yako hapo hospitali na yako hali mbaya. Nikamwambia hospitali, acha nikuje. Sasa wakati nilikuwa nakuja, wenye tulikuwa nao wakaniambia, kwa sababu tumeona kama mpumzika, wacha kukimbia sana, wacha tukoje kidogo. Nikasikia uchungu sana, nikasema, ni mpaka lini wasasi watalia?
So that is an experience of one parent who lost her student who was shot, yeah. And I just wanted to get more before we would proceed. Let's get more before we proceed. So if you come on board, just chat. Maybe you can greet. You can also give a comment before we proceed.
Sit at the back while the police.
Now let's shift our focus to East Africa. Kenya has been rocked by deadly protests. Yesterday, people marched on the anniversary of last year's anti-government protests. Soon after the police clashed with them, they fired water cannons, tear gas and hit the protesters with batons. Then the demonstrators turned violent. Protesters lit fires on the streets and torched buildings. And the police responded with gunfire, killing at least 16 people and injuring at least 4.
Yeah, so you can see even on first post, if you know the video, sharing here, that 16 people were shot, 400 injured in Kenyan protests. And of course, it started by demonstrations, then tear gas, followed by gunfire. So even the aspect of torching down the police stations did not come first. The first thing that came was protests, then tear gas, followed by gunshots. So let's listen briefly here before we proceed.
100 others. You see, Kenya faces a range of long-standing issues, from a struggling economy to police brutality. Now the youth of Kenya is demanding accountability, and anger is mounting against President William Ruto. So what do the protests mean for his administration? Here's a report.
Streets littered, shops destroyed, plumes of smoke still rising from the buildings. This is the aftermath of yesterday's deadly protests in Kenya. Early on Wednesday, the police barricaded major roads in many cities.
So of course you understand that roads had been barricaded. In fact, Thika Road was barricaded. And at some point now the young people, or rather the protesters, were the ones barricading instead. And you understand the shootings went on and on. In some situations, the police would shoot, then the citizens would protest and even attack the police. Now this, I just wanted to show something here. There is something I have to show here. Because there is... In fact, it is indicated that the goons who burnt down or torched down Olkalahu offices were not protesters again. Let's get to this one.
States, the people of CBD, as a
lanes from the inner and the outer lanes of the
This one
Thousands
also.
of youths on the streets of Nakuru.
That is Nakuru situation.
Protests picked up peacefully. The aim was to commemorate 1 year since the Gen Z protests. Heavy police presence across the city attempted to disperse the large crowd. This led to mayhem. Protests spread to different sub-counties. In Molo, the situation remained equally tense and one person was shot dead. Extreme levels of vandalism was witnessed. Total petrol station along Kenyatta Avenue was not spared. Looting took place in various shops, mostly of electronic equipment.
Now, of course, you've seen a lot of shooting around, some of which were extrajudicial because, of course, when somebody would just shout about something, then a gun was pointed. You've seen the example there, like in Molo. And there are those, of course, who are overpowered, like in the Nairobi case. So they had to sometimes shoot live bullets. Of course, I have to show an example of how some of the police were overpowered here. We have to finish the shooting before we go to looting. And this is Thika Road. The police were overpowered.
Thika Road. Situation here is not looking very nice, but there's a lot of action. Protesters trying to visibly push the police back further,
Look
all
at
the way
that.
to where we were earlier on at the exit to Lamada Hotel, that's KCA. But the action here is on, seems like it just began. Protesters were held up at rosters, but police have now been overpowered and pushed back all the way to also. We'll keep monitoring and giving you live pictures. There are large numbers of protesters who are coming all the way from Githurai, some as far as Eastern Bypass from the interviews we've been conducting on the ground. And so the situation is as it is, as you can see on your screens.
You can see the police shooting, right? Aiming the bullets. Imagine, that's one person who has been shot.
Well, Raymond will be joining us, but as you can see there, tear gas has been dispersed. I believe that is almost on your way to Allsops, past Garden City. I see that they're moving because they are all the way, we started with them, the possession we started with it from Ghetto Right. The chants are still ongoing. Yeah. What is the problem? What is the missing link that the president is missing from his youth?
Yeah, okay. Before I
Look at those aiming their bullets again.
I would like to first say that you're in full consensus with the place on maybe the statement by the Standard Media. In simple terms, or maybe to finalize or summarize the statement, is that the statement by the Communication Authority of Kenya is null and void. Back to your question. 1 year later, the rising is really missing out on many points. The reason, or maybe the debt levels of the country have inflated.
So you can clearly see in those videos whatever happened in Kenya. The shooting was on the highest notch with the police shooting, and of course sometimes overwhelmed, some running, some falling, some almost trampled upon by the, by the protesters. There was a situation where Laro Madoa, also a journalist, saved protesters who were almost afraid that they would be shot dead. Yeah, I think it's very important to bring this. Let's see this. They really ran. Where was this? Protesters, was it even in town, really? Their lives. Let's just check. And people, when you come to the platform, just share whatever you can. Let's look at this Laro Madoa thing and see how he saved some of the most scared people in the streets. Yeah, this is the case. They're almost facing the bullet before sweating. Everybody was sweating before he came to save them. Let's look at this very clear.
What happened?
Okay, we were just peacefully trying to.
You can see that man is almost having his heart pumping and jumping out of the mouth.
But this is not a safe place to keep people. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm with the couple if you want to suffocate. No, what are you doing? Why would you do that?
Look at
And
that.
he's laughing.
They're almost
He
shooting.
just threw tear gas in a crowded alley and then laughed at it. They were keeping these peaceful protesters in a place where they were suffocating. And then he threw a tear gas canister
And laughed.
It's crazy.
So do you understand that not all situations were the protesters
Look at this. Look at this.
bad
Look at this. Look at
enough?
this.
Look
They're
at
trying
that.
to beat her up. They're threatening her. These are prisons officers who are not trained in crowd control, and they are being unreasonably violent. Here we see them again. He's whipping the protesters right now. Even the security guards are getting rounded up. What is going on? Why are you guys being held? Larry, we are demonstrating peacefully. We are protesting against police brutality. The police have brutality. But the police have not. As you can see, we have nothing. I only have my phone. We all have only our phones. Actually, we are peaceful. Our hands are up, but we have been cornered, and we are afraid for our lives. Why are they? I don't understand why they're keeping the uniformed guards here. The uniformed guards. Why is he throwing this in our direction? This is. Okay. Now we have to get out of here. You guys need to leave with me. Twendeni.
So you actually see how Laro Madoa Laro Madoa press person had to save a lot of scared young people who could have been shot. Thank God for that. So you realize that as far as the CS is really saying that every other protester was armed, that's not true. You've just seen from that example that some of them had been cornered and they were to be killed. The police were really getting the fun of shooting and laughing about it. And they are really scared. Some of them almost their hearts were skipping out of their mouth, you see. So let's look at another case of, I think we are through with shooting. Let's go to looting. Now looting, what happened during protests? 9 police stations were attacked across the country. 5 were burned. Some of them after the shooting aspect, like Dagoretti, Molo, and Olkalau. And of course, from the news that are just trickling in today, it's clear that some of those posts were torched down by goons who had been hired earlier, as it had been indicated by some of the officials. You heard about it in another video I made earlier. Yeah, so 6 firearms were stolen and destroyed, of course. That you can get from any news people around. 8 police vehicles and 27 government, 65 civilian vehicles, including school buses, were destroyed or vandalized. Thousands of businesses were looted, of course. We can see one of them, Nairobi CBD. We had Quickmart at OTC, which has a very long story around it. Let's look at it and see. that is around Tomboya Street. Let's look at what happened at OTC, because that was the most, here it is. Here it is. But then there is some controversial information surrounding the OTC. How bodies were found in, we are not sure. Let's listen at this.
On the night of June 25th, alleged goons looted Quickmart OTC in Nairobi's Central Business District, stealing goods worth over 5 million Kenyan shillings. By June 26th, unverified social media reports claimed 10 to 30 bodies with gunshot wounds were locked inside. Allegedly, protesters killed elsewhere and dumped to mask their deaths as looting casualties. Kidero unaona hapa wakimanage kufungua tuone hiyo mreje ilizimi huko ndani. Tunasikia watu wako ndani ya zake.
So that is a case of looting and shooting.
Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen escalated.
So that is one case of looting, and of course it came along with shooting. Now the other case from my research that has clearly been pointed out is Kitengela Pizza Inn and Chickens Inn. I don't know whether they were galloping or rather taking in the chickens here. Let's visit and see. That is the Pizza Inn, Kitengela. Look at that looting that happened there, people taking juice and possibly chicken. So now we have cardboards, but the place is normally very decent with glasses. Glasses are sprinkled all over. Look at that. Ice cream crack. The police are here to investigate, but then what will they find? That is Pizza Inn for you, right? Those are two cases. I'll also get to show you something else. The looting also went on at Kasmat Supermarket Cooperative Bank, Githurai. And of course here they had to even loot the ATM. Let's look at this. I don't know whether it is the situation. Is this Githurai? Maybe I may not get to show you that, but for those who know Githurai, they looted the ATM machine at Cooperative Bank. And I think I hear of about the loss of, was it 200,000 allegedly? Then Embu Mathai Supermarket was looted. Nyeri Naivas Supermarket was looted. Kisii Shivling Supermarket was looted. Thika Road, Naivas at Mount Mall. Now, entire shopping center, of course, in the Nairobi center was charred. So some people reported to have lost about 150,000 US dollars. Printing shops, electronic shops were the most affected. Perfume stores were emptied. You don't know who was using this perfume actually. Beyond the shops, we have court buildings. Of course, the major one, Kikuyu, county administration offices, railways, electricity infrastructure, roads. We've seen all that. So let's just check on some of the examples in this understanding of the looting aspect. Looting in Kenya. So this is it, the looting. Let's hear here what is shared here.
Business districts were ransacked.
Look at the city.
OTC smoke still rising from gutted premises. The grim sight that met traders are down. Clear evidence of the scale of looting and destruction during the Gen Z commemoration protests. Many of the small-scale traders, overwhelmed by emotion, broke down in tears as the reality of the losses sunk in economic and emotional scars that may never heal.
Mingi alafu achome waliingia wakachukua malaptop mashini, wengine wametoa hard disk, so ni kitu walikuwa wanajua kile wanafanya. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni hasara kubwa sana, hatujui hata tutalejeaje katika
raw deal, issuing empty promises of protection, barring them from hiring private security and ultimately leaving them in ruins.
Huku kulikuwa kuna robiwa.
So remember, before the protests went on, they were promised security. But this is what happened.
Okay, so yes, actually at the moment we have the police still engaging the protesters in running battles here. Just a few minutes ago, several shops were broken into. From this petrol station was looted by the goons who infiltrated the protest. We also have who are involved with this looting that valuable items. We also have some of these. As you can see, the other machine is here, which was vandalized. And actually, we are still looking to see whether the police.
Now, guys, as we look at the hooting and shooting, beforehand, we heard that Sakaja had been implicated in the aspect of hiring goons to come and infiltrate the city. Now, ironically, Sakaja now is breaking the silence and saying that goons were hired by other people. Let's just listen to what he'll say, and will we believe him? Because now it's a blame game. As I've said, in Kenya, it's always up, political interference, political interest, political something. So this is what happened. No wonder there was shooting and looting. Shooting and looting is normally sometimes enhanced by the political leaders. Now let's listen to him.
The circulation of false, malicious, and politically motivated allegations against me. I would like to say for the record, let me be clear, and unequivocal, I have never and will never sponsor violence of any kind. My entire political life has been anchored on siasa safi, which upholds human dignity. Some have even gone as far as giving them county paraphernalia to say that they work for the county government or that they are my supporters. Nothing is further from this.
So according to Sakaja, he's saying that there are people who paid goons to indicate that he is the one who had hired. Now let's listen to this, of course. And this was before the protests.
Tuesday, Nairobi Central Business District CBD was a no-go zone as goons took over the streets. Surprisingly, the goons were being escorted by police as they...
Now that is one question that everybody has asked, If they were not sponsored by the government, why was it that the police were letting them go, like motorbikes directed from one end, and no police was attempting to stop them? Why is it that they could have such confidence, sometimes say, unaonwa, unashikwa kwa kamera, achana na panganga, we saw that kind of scenario, even in the first protest before 25th, and now this.
Protesters. A question that remains unanswered is who sent the goons and why were the police mandated to ensure law and order, protecting and escorting the goons as they caused mayhem, destruction and looting. Eyes are now focused on the overall police commander, Inspector General Douglas Kanja, as the IG. The blame lies squarely with him for encouraging his officers to entertain acts of thuggery and lawlessness. Kanja leads a deeply rotten service. He is accused of propagating hear no evil, see no evil, as his juniors turn rogue and allow goons to take over the city.
Main job, because his main job is to protect the businessmen. We are asking for the arrest of Governor Johnson Sakaja. He must be brought to book. He must be accountable.
During the protest in Nairobi Tuesday, goons infiltrated the demonstrations with police turning a blind eye.
Yeah, so guys, look at that situation. As far as now, currently there's blame game on citizens and the police saying they were just controlling the unfolding coup. Why did the police stand as they left these people to loot and also to beat about protesters that were peacefully demonstrating? That is a question that we are yet to be answered. Let's look at the other situation of hired goons touching motorbikes, touching cars, and being beaten in the epic Gen Z protest clash. Let's see this.
Nairobi's Central Business District CBD protest turned violent as demonstrators demanding justice for slain blogger Albert Ojwang and opposing the 2025-2026 finance bill clashed with the motorbike riders suspected to be hired goons. The confrontations, which erupted mid-morning, brought chaos to the CBD, with burning motorbikes, looted businesses, and running battles between protesters and police.
Just minding their business. The police are watching the goons terrorize innocent people. One of them has been caught. He was the one who beat me up and took my phone. I managed to get my phone back. This is a shameless government, a ruthless, shameless government.
The protest that attended by key under hashtags protesting for Trump and reject finance bill 2025 by the controversial death, strangulation.
So of course, from government insiders, we had beforehand of the demonstrations, there had been newspapers indicating that some of the leaders were behind this. Like we had David, who, let's just see here.
Of Kenyans who lost their loved ones in the deadly demos against punitive taxes and
Yeah, so it had been hinted that goons would be brought to the
into anarchy. That's the main story
city to stop these protests.
They are talking about exposed in a chilling expose. Is it? The Standard uncovers messaging in WhatsApp groups run by government bloggers and officials, UDS Secretariat staff and parastatal chiefs, where they have been planning how to infiltrate peaceful protests in the city, generating propaganda aimed at media houses and prominent individuals seen critical of the government. The tactics include unleashing goons to...
June 25th, Parliament would have led the country as a house of national conversation in a process that gives us, or Parliament should have conducted hearing until we put an end to corruption, until we put an end to...
So guys, that is the discussion around looting, shooting, hooting, and killing. Now, in summary, fatalities, 8 civilian protesters killed. And of course, there are more than that, because which are these bodies found at OTC? Quick math. High-profile victim, of course, we understand. Police losses, we had a lot of losses by the police. Widespread property damage and looting. Supermarkets, banks, eateries, and administrative buildings. Looters. So goons infiltrating protests and riots sparking condemnation and all that. This is the situation that will continue to loom in Kenya unless things change. And who will change this if not me and you? Who will change this if not the government? Blame games will not help. Mayhem will not stop anything. Protests don't seem to be a solution. What is the next step then? The looting, shooting, hooting. Now, it's not only happening on the streets. Hooting, looting, and shooting, as I started with this in this video, it's happening inside the parliament, if you understand what I'm talking about. Now, let's finish our video with a song again, relevant to my video. As I say, adieu always. Bye-bye for now.
Can you hear the cry of the people? My cry of the people. Cry of the people, rising like fire. Babylon system playing with desire, looting and shooting, my heart full of pain. Another youth gone, will we ever rise again? Cry for Kenya now. We say the ghetto youth them tired now. Nairobi streets on fire, tear gas in the air, young blood spill, nobody seem to care. March for freedom, they shoot to kill. How many more? more must die on that hill. Shots broken, glass shattered wide. Not just left, it's hunger inside. System failed, no food in a plate. When the pain is real, the rage don't wait. Now my mama crying, where is my son? He went out marching, now he's gone. Politicians safe in a mansion high, while youth them bleeding on the sky. They loot the future, they steal the hope. Now they frame the youth like the devil's door. Bullet in chest, feet holding a sign, but then leaders now answer the people's cry. From democracy to consumer time, them beat the youth, them push them down. Still we rise with fists in the air. Shout for justice, we not fair. Rap cry of the people, louder than gun. The truth shall blaze like the morning sun. Looting and shooting, justice in vain. How many you must die in vain? Cry, cry, cry for Kenya now. We say they get to you, them tired now, they.
Yeah, so guys, bye bye. Let's meet in another video.